Hey guys, what is going on? My name is Darth Cinema, and today, guys, I apologize for this type of video, but right now it is 12:37 in the morning. I have just gotten back from Suicide Squad, and I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. I'll go over non-spoilers. It's like just give a breakdown of what I felt was wrong, and what was good with the movie. What my thoughts are, and then I'll go into spoilers, and I'll actually talk about what I thought overall. So non-spoilers, the film is average. I feel definitely better than Batman versus Superman at any rate, and I do feel that if you want a good time at the movies, go see Suicide Squad. You'll be entertained by it. There are genuinely some good things in here that any comic book reader would like. So there are a few technical problems with it. Mostly I'll talk about that when I get to the spoiler section. But on the whole, it's still an enjoyable film and you'll get your money's worth there. Just don't expect a great movie. That's what I think. My thoughts on it are it was good, but it had the potential to be great and it kind of fell short there. So that's spoiler free right there, and that's kind of what you get there. But I went to my theater. In fact, I got an advance ticket, so I got a cool sticker set. I'll actually go here right now so I can show you guys. I got this cool sticker set right here for it of all the major players in the film. You got Joker, Katana, Croc, Boomerang, Enchantress, Diablo, Slipknot, Harley, Flag, Deadshot, and then you got the logo right there. And I went in my Flash shirt, so anyway, you don't want to see my ugly face right now, so I'll just stick with the voice. So anyway, my thoughts on the film. Going into the spoiler section, I'm actually going to talk about what I liked about the film. And actually, unlike Batman v Superman, there is genuinely things I loved about this movie. And the first of which is the characters. So let's get this right out the bat right away. There are three breakout characters in Suicide Squad that I thought were genuinely done well. And my favorite one was Diablo. Diablo had, by and far, the best character arc in this film. And there was genuinely, they try to paint all of these characters as anti-heroes or even heroes. I know Margot Robbie just went on record saying that Harley Quinn's not really a villain. She's a misunderstood hero, which I don't agree with. Harley is a villain. She's insane. She's crazy. And so is the Joker, too. Because I think Jared Leto said something very similar about the Joker. But Diablo had probably the most convincing character arc. And the thing is that, superhero films it's very difficult for superhero films to kind of get these emotional pieces right. But that portion in the bar, during the third act of the film, like right when they're starting to get their second win and take down the villain, and they're all chilling at the bar and drinking and then talking to one another, we finally get, a good look at Diablo and just why he turned himself in. Because unlike all the other people in the squad who were captured, Diablo surrendered essentially, and we got to learn why and about essentially how he loses control of his powers and whatnot. And this collateral damage ends up hurting the people that are closest to him. That was good, and I genuinely felt very strong emotion for this character. And I really, really was hoping that, and we're getting into spoilers right now, so I've given you a chance to go. So I really hoped that Diablo was not going to die. But they did. So Diablo, I think, okay, by and far, Diablo was one of the best characters in the movie. I liked him. Harley Quinn and Deadshot had strong character backstories that were short enough that they didn't take up the majority of the movie, but they were full enough that we got to know the gist of their characters in context of this universe, and essentially we got to know when it took place. I would say it took place The main events of the movie take place about a year after the events of Batman versus Superman, because we do know that Floyd Lawton or Deadshot was in prison at Bel Rev for about 9 months. So I would assume that the events of Suicide Squad take place a year after Batman versus Superman. So Harley gets a lot of good backstory too. We get to see her interactions with the Joker, and I'll get to the Joker in a moment, but I kind of want to get the three best characters out of the way. Um, Margot Robbie does a very good job with Harley Quinn, and I'm going to go on record with saying that even though I didn't like the choice of costume for her, I still felt she was kind of dressed like a Hot Topic model, but whatever. She nailed it. She nailed the character. So while I may not like the wardrobe, I do like the fact that she nailed the character in and of itself. She was crazy. She was psychotic, but she also was cunning, and you can definitely see that in her interactions with the rest of the squad. Deadshot also, we find that he's like, they try to paint him as a serial killer, but at the same time, he has a code. Like, he doesn't kill women, he doesn't kill children, and he does this essentially so he can support his daughter, and essentially try to find a better life for his daughter. And we do get to see him being captured by Batman, and it was kind of fun to see Batman go back to no killing, because I think that was probably the one thing a lot of people were asking in the theater was, why didn't Batman kill him? Because of course you got the psychotic Batman from Batman v Superman, and it's a lot of people were wondering, why isn't he killing Deadshot? Why is he killing Killer Croc? Why doesn't he kill any of these people? Yeah, sorry if I'm pausing. It's just I'm trying to get all my thoughts together, and it's so late. But I kind of wanted to get this out there just because I've seen it. It's fresh in my mind, and I don't think a night's sleep is going to help me with this. So those three characters I feel were the best ones. You're gonna get them. You're gonna enjoy those ones the most. The forgettable ones, in my opinion, are Croc, Katana, and Slipknot. Slipknot for probably the most obvious reason. I think 99% of everyone who was going to see this movie knew Slipknot was going to be the one that was going to get his head blown off, so there was really nothing to him. He was just a throwaway character. Katana looked like they were putting some sort of emotional backstory. Now, whether or not they keep her for a sequel, if a sequel even happens, which it very well might, they tried to explain a little bit with the souls and the sword, but that kind of felt glossed over. There was really nothing there, and I wish they kind of delved a little more into Katana's backstory, like they did with the rest of the squad. Each person had their own kind of flashbacks, but Katana was kind of noticeably absent from that. Same with Croc. I felt Croc was good, and in fact, I will go on record, the makeup and the prosthetics for Croc were really well done, and I actually liked this take by the actor's name, I believe, is Adewale. I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm just going to call him Adewale. And well done for bringing that kind of physicality to a role. Like, you make Croc feel like he's gigantic with that strength, hurling around people like it's nothing, just tearing through the enemy soldiers. It was actually really fun to watch, and I actually loved when he was throwing Enchantress around during the end of the movie. So that was pretty fun. But yeah, again, there are some characters that definitely got the short end of the stick. Now, one of the things I really didn't like about for character wise was Captain Boomerang, because Captain Boomerang, I think, gets a bad rap now, and a lot of people consider him as a joke character. I mean, with a name like Captain Boomerang, you don't expect to take the character seriously. But then, as Arrow has showed us, because I think one of the things that Arrow did well in season 4, I believe, no, season 3, was bringing in Captain Boomerang, and at least they took him somewhat seriously, and he was he wasn't an idiot. He was a mastermind. He knew he was deadly, and he was able to take on quite a few people. And this was a guy you knew you didn't want to mess with, and a guy I felt like if they had embodied the Boomerang from the Flash TV, from the Flash and Arrow TV show, I felt that it would have been a really good addition to the squad. And like you kind of see that near the end, but for the majority, he's kind of just a joke. I mean, the whole thing with the pink unicorn fetish. I mean, what? Why? I expect that kind of stuff from Deadpool, not Captain Boomerang. I mean, I know his name sounds ridiculous, but you don't have to make him essentially your joke character. Uh, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. I genuinely like Captain Boomerang. I thought Jai Courtney would have been a good choice for Captain Boomerang, but I felt that he was very wasted in this. And the little time he got near the end didn't help. I mean, I liked what I saw, but I wish it could have he could have been given his due. Like, he could have been given a lot more. I mean, obviously he's the jerk of the group. He double crosses people. He uses people to his advantage. Like when he got Slipknot to see if the bombs were real, he basically provoked Slipknot into leaving, and he was just like, "Oh, I'm just gonna see whether or not these bombs are real." I believe he already did that to Slipknot in the comics. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure he did the exact same thing to the exact same character. So I'm not very surprised that happened. This leaves 4 characters left. We have Waller, Enchantress, Joker, and Rick Flag. Now, probably to the surprise of no one, the villain, the one pulling the strings behind everything going on in Midway City during the events of Suicide Squad, is the Enchantress. I kind of figured that Enchantress would be responsible for what was going on because she was not in the primary. She was not the primary focus of the marketing, which I felt that when I saw that, I mean, for Slipknot, it made sense because, you kind of realize, oh, okay, he's going to die. They're showing nothing but that one scene of him, like, firing the grapple hook and rappelling to the building, and there was really nothing there. You never see him in any of the other shots, but then I noticed that Enchantress was not in any of these shots with the actual squad, and I'm like, okay, why is that? And then when you realize how powerful Enchantress is, you go, she has something to do with whatever's going on with the villain of the film, which is actually the Enchantress's brother. I don't think he's ever given a name. Like, essentially, she takes the trapped spirit of her brother and possesses this random guy in Midway City, and they're going to build a machine to destroy humanity's armies and then take over the world and usher in a new age of metahumans and essentially a new world that would bow to them. Kind of standard, but then again, for a first movie, you would think, like, for a film that a lot of people were saying was going to change and redefine the superhero genre, I felt they kind of played it safe in the second half of the movie. So that's one thing. The first half of this movie is probably the best half, and the one I will commend David Ayer and the cast because you did a great job with that first half, and you introduced it in a way that felt different, and it felt new. The way how you introduced each and every character with that kind of stylized text, that each character kind of had their own thing, that worked. I loved that. So kudos to you there. The second half, though, just kind of feels formulaic and very predictable in that aspect. But I'll more on that in a sec. So, like, the Rick Flag was kind of didn't really get a moment where I've just been like really just he was kind of there for me. And even though, he was kind of central to the plot of the whole thing, there was really no moment where I just kind of felt invested. Maybe that was more the writer's fault. I kind of felt like Joel Kinnaman was giving it his best for the performance, but I don't know. I might have to see it a second time before I can make any full judgment on Rick Flag. But he was average, which leaves probably the 2 characters that a lot of people have been asking about. It's Amanda Waller and the Joker. And I will say this without a doubt, 100% true. Viola Davis is the best Amanda Waller we have ever had. And this is from someone whose favorite version was from the animated series, because the animated series, Justice League Unlimited Amanda Waller, was fantastic. And anyone who has seen that agrees with me on that, because that Amanda Waller was awesome. My one bit is with the mid-credit scene, and if you've seen it, you know what I mean. Like, I kind of wish, her and Batman were more butting heads a lot. And if you've seen the end credit scene, you kind of know why I'm saying this. I don't expect them to be all buddy buddy. I want them like this. They are meant to be clashing with each other because they both have the same goal. They just go through radically different means. And while Bruce leaves her off with a warning saying, like, shut down Task Force X, my friends and I will do it, obviously hinting at Justice League, I kind of would rather see more of what we saw in Justice League Unlimited. And for that, but Amanda Waller nails every not Amanda Waller, Viola Davis nails every aspect of Amanda Waller. See, she's so good, I'm calling her as her character's name. She was fantastic, and I loved it. And that probably leaves the Joker, and I kind of wanted to hold this one off for last because I'm gonna be 100% honest. He was okay. Nothing. He wasn't amazing. He wasn't terrible. He was just okay. And I'm gonna mostly blame that on the short amount of time he was in the film, because Jared Leto says that there were way more Joker scenes in Suicide Squad that ended up being cut. And I'm gonna explain more about the cutting in a second. But from what I saw, he was definitely creepy. There were definitely moments where you kind of felt like your skin crawl a bit, because it's just he nails that creepy vibe that the Joker seems to have, like that unpredictable nature that you don't know what he's going to do, whether he's going to kill you or whether he's just going to be like, oh yeah, you and I are good friends, and that kind of thing. Anyway, he does good. I feel that with more screen time, I would probably have a better indication of how I feel exactly about Leto's Joker. I'm still open to him. After this, I'll say he's okay, and like I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him in another movie. Uh, yeah, pretty good. Anyway, um, so the good things about the movie, obviously, a fantastic first half. The practical makeup for Croc was fantastic. The costumes, minus Harley's, were very well done. Even the Enchantress, wow, well done on at least her first design. Her second design, yeah, but I'll get to that. And those are some very, very big positives for this movie. And from someone who was very worried after Batman v Superman, I was worried that this film was not going to be as good, but I came out of it actually very satisfied with what I saw. However, there are negatives to it, and the negatives keep it from being what I consider a great movie. There are definitely things about Suicide Squad that are good, but what keeps it from being great, I feel, are two major things technically. The lighting, I feel this is a plague for the DC movies, that they're trapped in eternal darkness. Some of the fight scenes needed more lighting to see what was going on. I got the gist of what was going on, but I think a little extra lighting would have helped it out, especially when they're fighting what I think they were called the eyes of the adversary, way in the alleyway, where we get to see like Deadshot flashing out his guns. Deadshot's shooting scenes were fantastic, by the way. Really neat job on that one. And having see that alleyway fight would have been a lot better. It doesn't really help when your enemy soldiers are just all like this greenish, dark black. They really kind of just blend into the background. And they were inventive. I kind of liked what they did with them, but I mean, they were just kind of cannon fodder for the squad to just show off. But anyway, yeah, so that's the lighting. The lighting kind of needed a little bit of work in those fight scenes. For the majority of the rest of the movie, it was good. And they managed to brighten it up a bit, which I think was the major problem of both Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, was the kind of like always set in a permanent gray. And this film was not afraid to show color. The other big thing, and this is I think the biggest portion that led to the movie's downfall, was the editing. Now I have heard that the rumors from several Hollywood sources saying that there was another cut of the film, that there was two cuts of the film. One that David Ayer had, which was much more somber but had a more cohesive narrative. And this one, that a lot of people say was the one by Warner Brothers, which was tested better with the focus groups, mainly because of the introduction of more humor. Now, of course, I have no confirmation of that being true, but one thing I will say is the editing was not good. It definitely felt like there were portions of it that were just, it felt like you knew there was something big that was cut there, and there were parts, especially in the second half, where I felt that was there were things that were being cut, especially when the squad's all suiting up and whatnot, and then it just immediately cuts um flags showing them like Amanda Waller's tablet. I felt like, okay, there was something that, if my gut told me there was something that went there that would make it flow a lot better, but it wasn't there. It's maybe I'm paranoid or something, but I think there needs to be an ebb and flow to this. And the first half had it. It had a nice rapid pace to it. And there were parts where it slowed down, but it kept a nice rapid pace during the first half of the movie. And I felt that what it did right, it did very, very good. I loved it. But as soon as you kind of got into the second half of the movie, it just more or less kind of stagnated, which with a movie where you're essentially advertising as this pent up energy, like this energetic action movie. The last thing you want is to be stagnant and to just kind of drag out, which I was worried it was going to drag out during the second half. Um, and if there is another cut of the movie, I really hope we get to see it, because I will actually pay the money to see the second cut if there is a director's cut of the movie. But right now, it's looking like David Ayer is denying that there is another cut of the movie. It's saying that this is his own, so that's neither here nor there. Um, so I also wanted to make this video, like, for the whole Suicide Squad thing. I think the movie in and of itself is good. Definitely a step up from Batman v Superman. I think the tonal shift to a more optimistic, still dark, but more of a dark comedy, and the comedy works. So to all the DC fanboys who say comedy can't work in a superhero movie, it shouldn't be there, Suicide Squad has proven you wrong, and it can work, because these characters can do it. And the fact that they're villains does not matter at all, because villains and heroes can make jokes. And the jokes didn't seem awkward to me. There were legitimate, like, really good wisecracks from Harley that got me to laugh when they're in the bar, and they're pointing out, it's like, oh, you may be pretty on the outside, but you're ugly on the inside. She's like, we're all ugly on the inside. We're all as ugly on the inside as the outside. We're all ugly on the inside. And then she looks at Croc and she goes, except for him, he's ugly on the outside too. And he goes, what you talking about? I'm beautiful. I laughed. I thought that was funny. Maybe that's my bad sense of humor, but I genuinely thought there were parts that were funny. There were the emotional moments that were done very well, and I thought that the CGI that they used, especially for El Diablo's transformation into his final form, was fantastic. I really, really liked seeing him duke it out with the brother in the movie. That was good, but it's not perfect. The movie is not perfect by any means of the imagination. Like I said, the big editing, the big, big problems with the editing. The cuts felt super rushed, and it didn't feel like there was a cohesive narrative going, transitioning from the first to the second half. And the lighting problems are minor. In fact, a few fixes, and I genuinely would have been fine with it. It really wasn't a problem except for the fight scenes. And mostly the plot. Really, there wasn't that much backstory, I feel, given to the brother. I mean, obviously we've seen the Enchantress screw with people before and summon a demon and whatnot, and she's been responsible for quite a few screw-ups in the DC universe. But I mean, this film kind of felt like it was just your standard take over the world thing. We make everyone bow to us and whatnot, and it was eh. I thought it kind of could use a little more imagination, but now that I think about it, it more falls in line with what the Suicide Squad is used to. So, out of a 10, I give this one a 7. It mostly takes a big hit for the pacing. Pacing feels off, but on the whole, it is an enjoyable movie that you guys should be able to like. I mean, do I think it's the worst film ever? Nah. Do I think it's the best film ever? Oh, no. No, not even close. This is not the best DC film ever. This is not the worst DC film ever. It is average. And to be honest, average in this case is probably fine with me. If I'm going to get this on DVD when it comes out, and you guys should see it. So it's a recommendation in my book. Go out and see Suicide Squad now. At the very least, you'll have an entertaining and fun time with some of the DC Universe's more eccentric villains. So my name is Darth Cinema, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Again, sorry for the format. I did get my laptop back. It is all repaired, so look forward to more regular videos coming soon in my traditional format. If you are new here, please consider subscribing. I do talk about comic book movies. I also do talk about anime as well. So One Punch Man, Attack on Titan, Ruby, you name it, I'm going to be reviewing it within the next year. And I might also be reviewing other comic book properties such as The Flash, Arrow, and Legends of Tomorrow, depending on fan reception. So let me know in the comments below what you would like me to review within this next year. It means a lot to me, guys, so thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for helping me reach over 1,400 subscribers. It means the world to me that you guys love my content, and I cannot thank you enough. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you, each and every one of you, for making me one of the happiest guys here on YouTube, for knowing that so many people like what I do, and I will do my best to give you some of the best content that I can do within my power. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Go see Suicide Squad right now, and even go see it in 3D. I didn't even think the 3D was that bad. So have a good night, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Take care, and I'll see you later.